I'm late for a very important date. Did you just like look at my mind every day? Every morning? That's from Alice in Wonderland. That's my favorite book. 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is pretty cool. We have a pocket watch. It's a compass as well. Oh, a sundial. So we're gonna talk today about watches. I love watches. Ever since I got into jewelry, I wear one every day. They're a really wonderful way to accessorize and they've got a great history. If you want to learn more about the history of horology though, you can click this episode or this link right here to see a video that we did all about the history of horology. We talked about the radium girls. Okay, so the history of, well, I guess I can't say the history of time, but I'm gonna say like the study of time dates back to about 1450 BC when the Egyptians kind of started to realize that there was a natural rhythm. And this rhythm in Earth, it's the circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is responsible for when you're hungry, when you wanna go to bed, while you sleep a certain amount of hours. When we're talking about kind of the beginning of time or the study of time, or like maybe the knowledge of time is a better thing, you had the use of sundials. Here's basically how it works. We know that the Earth rotates. Basically, you're telling time by using the rotation of the Earth and the shadows. So when it's noon, the sun is straight up in the sky and you're able to tell using the sundial what time it is. And the sundial is usually broken up, I think it always is, into like 12-hour blocks. And you use the shadows in those 12-hour blocks to see roughly what time it is. Okay, next box, 3, 2, 1. Oh, my favorite. So I have two beautiful wristwatches right here in front of me. This one is actually from the 1800s, and this watch is from the 1930s. And I think the designs of both of them are spectacular. You can tell they're a vintage look. So we have wristwatches, but before wristwatches, there were pocket watches. And the evolution from a pocket watch to a wristwatch was really determined by war. If you think about it, when you're at war, you need to know what time it is quickly. You can't be taking your pocket watch out of your pocket and looking to see what time it is. Like, time is your safety and you need to be able to move quickly. So the wristwatch was really developed to be able to look down at your wrist and tell time quickly. So allegedly the first wristwatch came to be around the 1860s, like 1868 from Patek Philippe. But the first really mass-produced watches were in the 1900s and were attributed to Cartier. This is a channel about gemstones, so why are we talking about watches today? Well, because watches actually have gems in them. We've got a pocket watch right here that is beautiful. You can see the inside. This is gonna be fun. And then we have another one. Wow, these are beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there's ruby in there. We're gonna talk about why there's rubies. So you have the back of these right here, and I want you guys to take a closer look at the back of that. There's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of metal. So when you have metal, when you have a lot of movement and there's metal like grinding against metal, it's gonna break down those parts. And that's where gemstones actually come in. To my knowledge, most of the time it's ruby. You have ruby placed at these like junctions where there's like these pivot points in the movement of a watch, and it really helps with that friction and it prevents some of the, I guess, breaking down of the metal. The benefit of having these jewels is not only does it prevent against friction at these pivot points, the benefit is also that when you're preventing that friction, you're also getting a more accurate telling of time because you don't have that friction slowing down the operation of the movement of a watch. Sapphire and emerald have also been used. The benefit of corundum, which is sapphire and ruby, is that it is a 9 on the Mohs scale. Fun fact. Not only are there rubies, sapphires, and emeralds used in watches, but we also have quartz, and quartz plays a pretty big role. It's in charge with, again, keeping movement and keeping the watch accurate. So when we're talking about quartz, we're also gonna be mentioning piezoelectricity. We actually did another video about this with Christopher. On a very basic, like 40,000 foot view of piezoelectricity, it is basically when you have these electric charges that cause vibrations and that keeps the watch in sync. Fun fact, about this watch right here. Christopher told me this is actually called a jeweler's watch. And the reason it's called a jeweler's watch is so the jeweler can actually show the customer or their client the movement in the watch without having to take off the back. So let's compare these two watches for a second. You've seen the back of this one, you've seen the rubies in there, but this is quite a bit smaller. This watch still has quartz in those jewels used to keep the accuracy and prevent the friction. But think how small they have to be and how difficult it is to like go in and look at these mechanisms and use these tiny little gemstones. Alrighty, 3, 2, 1. This is a watch too. I know Apple and a lot of other companies, these watches right here are actually corundum, which is a 9 on the Mohs scale. So even in an Apple watch, it's still the use of gemstones and jewelry. They also have aluminum, titanium, I think a little bit of copper. But I think what really blows my mind is that we literally went from using sundials to smartwatches that can tell me my heart rate. Alrighty, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here's just another example of, these are from JTV. So on this channel today, we've talked about gemstones and metals in watches, but we haven't really talked about using them for their beauty. And, you know, when you look at old watches, even when you look at new watches, you're gonna see diamonds and rubies and gemstones like these used to make the bands and the faces beautiful. You can even use mother of pearl. Sometimes the back of the watch will actually be mother of pearl. Yeah, gemstones are used to help a watch move and a watch tell time, but they're also used for beauty. So no matter what you like, whether you like smartwatches, you like bedazzled, bejeweled watches, or if you're more of a traditionalist like I am, you're really gonna find something that you love in the world of watches. That was a wrap. We've taken some time to talk to you about, we haven't wasted any time either, but we've learned about watches today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You don't want to miss out what we've got coming up on our future videos. I'm probably running late for something, so I'm gonna head out. Thanks, guys.